ready? We're on? We're on.
You are on.
January 2nd, 2024. Holy smokes.
Hey.
Welcome.
How about that? Happy New Year, huh?
Welcome back. Yes. Happy New Year. There's something weird about when I did watch the ball drop in New York City. So it was 11 here, but like something.
Yeah.
Yeah, it hit me a little different when it said 2024. I mean, I see it every year usually, but I don't know. So I don't know. Maybe I hope that's a good sign that 2024 is going to be like.
Yeah. Did you see our Facebook post from New Year's?
Well, I
It's got
started
like
watching.
24,000 views now.
Did you have your flamethrower?
Oh yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
I like saw it on there, and then I think I was mid between playing dinosaurs and doing some floor hockey yesterday. So
Yeah, we blew through about 5 gallons of unleaded. It was fun.
yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Hey, at the
yeah.
price you can though.
Oh
Right now.
yeah, it's much easier.
Yeah, much easier when it's not.
Yeah, of course, my burn
$4.
pile still wouldn't light because it had 3 inches of ice on it.
That's true.
Yeah,
That's true.
yeah. Anyway.
My inflatable dinosaur that we had is, deflated, and then he got ice on him. So the ice age has now hit the dinosaurs again.
Oh,
So I don't.
gee.
Yeah, that's right.
There we go.
But I'm like trying to get him out because you can't. He'll rip. So now I don't know what to do with my inflatable. I just became an inflatable family, And
Oh, boy.
So I don't know what to do. Bring your flamethrower over and just like warm it up over
There you
there.
go.
Warm up the.
Perfect.
Yeah, get it going. Get it
All
going.
right.
All right. Well, I did hear this morning. I listened to podcasts myself, but yesterday didn't count because we have 53 Mondays in 2024. So if you didn't know that, yesterday was a freebie. It's also a leap year.
Oh yeah.
So like all the things. So you have an extra 24 hours in your life this year. Maybe that's why 2024 hit me a little
And
different.
that's really what I needed too.
Right?
An extra 24 hours, yeah.
Gosh, I'm going to go home and put that in my planner that I'm
What
going to
are
use
you
for a
gonna-
month.
All those inflatables now, you got a free date. You can go work with those things.
I'm gonna let them settle. But
Okay.
I have a new planner. I plan to use it for the month of January, and then it'll probably sit on the floor like it always does.
All right.
But I have good goals. So, well, we're gonna kick this off because it's a new year, a new week. I'm kicking it off with a guest, which is just crazy. I mean, look at me getting things scheduled.
I know.
And on and big. So this is Put a Fork in It. Grand Forks' most exciting and, contrary to what John says, most popularly watched video and podcast. You can find us on YouTube. If you're just tuning in, you want to see our faces, YouTube, Facebook. The link is on Twitter. Grand Cities Living, Grand Cities Life on Twitter, and also on Facebook. I think I mentioned that. And then if you just want to catch us in the car, feel free to tune in at Grand Cities, Put a Fork in It. Good gravy. Screwing it all up.
New year.
New year, don't worry, I got an extra week to screw this up. So my name is Courtney Barstead Logan. I'm a realtor here in the Grand Cities with eXp Realty. And thank you. Wow. No one is usually that excited about that part.
It's a
but
new year.
New year, yeah. And if you find anything I say offensive, feel free to email my broker at nd.broker@exprealty.net. She would love to hear from you.
We don't ever say anything offensive on this show.
No, but we're not regulated by the FCC.
Yeah.
So that's
Okay,
what's
we
exciting.
do. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, okay. Once in a while. Although, I'm a little more worried about my Thursday mornings with Trevor D. That gets a little more hairy.
Yeah.
You never know what's going to come out of
It's purple hair.
purple hair day. So, all right. Well, let's get the party started. I'm so excited. Been working on this for a few months of getting my guest in. So Tom Boysen with the tennis team at UND, both men's and women's. I'm so excited to have you here.
Appreciate you having me.
This
Been
is
looking
great.
forward to it. Yeah,
Yes,
thank you. Thank you.
yeah. A nice early morning, kick off your week, and
There we go.
ready to go. What time of day do you guys practice normally?
So, coach both the women's and the men's team.
Yeah.
So since I've been here, so this is the third year in a row, the women have voted to practice early in the morning. So
That's
they
right.
start about 8 o'clock, go from about 8 to 11 every morning, and then they head on to classes and sometimes individual lessons and their strength conditioning workouts in the afternoon. I think the men would cry if the women ever vote to change. It's equal opportunity, so I always give them the chance if they
Yep.
want to vote to switch that up.
Yep.
So far, the women have always wanted to go early. The men have wanted to go, or gotten lucky to go in the afternoon, according to them. So
I'm not shocked by this.
I just cannot fathom that.
Yeah.
The women want to go early.
Yes. Women get stuff done.
Apparently my wife never played tennis.
Yeah. Yes.
Jeepers.
It's a thing. You get up, get it done.
They are.
Yeah, see, that's
seize
how I
the
am.
day.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. They probably go to bed at 8 too. I'm guessing.
They are some pretty motivated, dedicated
Absolutely.
Wow.
women, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So, you're in your third season here at UND,
Yes.
which is fantastic. And last year, I kind of mentioned this on the intro that I wrote online, but there was a huge buzz around your program last year. It was so fun, so cool to see. And so share a little bit about you, where you're from, where have you been, and then what brought you to UND?
Okay, I'll keep the non-tennis part short, but a Midwest person through and through, born in Michigan. Most of my relatives still live in a little corner of Southwest Michigan. When I was young, middle school age, my parents both applied for jobs when we were on a summer vacation in Orlando, and a month later we had moved. And so,
Like at Disney, did they?
no,
Oh, okay.
big government. I was the one who wasn't a CPA. CPAs
Okay.
and accountants in my family, other than me. So
That's awesome.
grew up junior tennis, high school tennis, and college tennis in Florida,
Wow.
and then kind of migrated all over the country as a coach. Started at junior academies and working with some good juniors in our country, and then was in the right place at the right time, and got to travel 45 countries in about 5 years with some young adults that were kind of tweeners in between college and trying to turn pro and make a living at it, which was a great experience
That's
for me. And that's really where I met both of the first two head coaches that I worked for when I got into the college tennis scene.
Okay, that's awesome. And what other institutions have you been at?
So started at Vanderbilt in Nashville,
Oh, yeah.
so SEC school, private, and then as the men's assistant. And then after 5 years there, went to Dartmouth in the Ivy League, which is a completely different experience, dealing with no athletic scholarships, and you're only recruiting with financial aid and hoping they have a good SAT or ACT score.
Yeah.
The Ivy League was interestingly getting really good right about the time I got in there, probably the best tennis programs they've had league-wide in a while. And then wanted to dip my toe back into Power 5 school, so applied at a couple places and was lucky enough to get an assistant job at Nebraska. For 3 years, and then about 3 years ago, got the itch. I never really had the itch to be a head coach, and kind of got me, and I had the bug. And the summer that I applied here, I applied to 3 or 4 spots, and had told a couple of people that this was the place I wanted to get the offer, and it kind of worked out. And everything's kind of started from there as a head coach.
That's awesome. Very cool. Very cool. So you have seen a lot of the world, a lot of different styles of tennis,
Sure.
all ages, all the things. Do you have a particular age you like working, like the new or seasoned?
I would say this is perfect for me.
Yeah.
I like you said, I've kind of, everybody kind of starts out teaching beginners or teaching some ladies or men's clinics, then hopefully, maybe working with some juniors. And I do find that I have been attracted to work with people that still have goals out in front of them, that it's not as leisurely. That's still enjoyable for me, but where there's some clear-cut goals, and to really see that maybe advancement going from high school to college, and then college to maybe trying to play on tour and kind of doing that. But I think the other part of college that fits so well for me is I like the recruiting aspect. So I think I'm a little bit of a salesman, so I can kind of, if I believe in a university or a school and a program and something like that, it's easy for me to talk about it. So that adds that element to it.
Absolutely. So with you playing indoors only, right? Always?
Unless we're on the road
Okay.
in March and April, yes.
Okay. So is it easier to recruit here because you're like, oh, well, it doesn't matter. We're going to be inside.
It's
It's never easy here.
it's easier because it's somewhat narrowed down.
Yes.
And I said, if you can run across some people who have never played indoors that rule you out or rule us out, maybe because of that. That being said, it's kind of easy to tell them what to expect, and so it's not some of these places where you're sometimes indoors, sometimes outdoors. We kind of can tell them this is what you need to be prepared for. Interesting thing here is the speed of our indoor courts. First, we probably play at the nicest facility in the Summit League. Indoor, we're pretty fortunate there, but the courts are very conducive to any kind of style of play, and so we've had players in our starting lineup from South Africa, California, Florida, Texas, Serbia, places where they almost never played indoor tennis before they got here, and it took them about 3 days and they were fine. And so, and which helps feed the recruiting for the next cycle. They hear that from the players that are here when they're on their visits, and they kind of that kind of eases their mind a little bit about the stigma of playing indoors when they haven't done it before.
Yeah,
So
absolutely. That's awesome. No, you mentioned different countries. You have a wide array of players from all over the country and the world.
do.
Yeah. Where are your players from this year?
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'll start with the women. So we do have a couple players from local. We have two from Minnesota that are, one's a senior, one's a junior this year. And a player from Florida who's been here 4 years. Then we branch out. We have a player from Sweden, a player from Germany, and 2 players from the UK.
Very cool.
And it's kind of been a lot of different places. Other than that, that's kind of where we are right now. The men, we've got some players this year from places I don't think UND's had, and some players before. We have a player from Quebec, Canada. I think it's the first Canadian we've had on the team, at least in the recent history. A player from Switzerland, and one more player from the UK.
Okay.
So, and then in addition to some
So do you get to go and scout these people and try to talk to their parents?
Say that again. Yeah.
I'm just wondering, because I've been to a few of the places you're talking about, and boy, not a bad recruiting trip to take. And I'm just wondering how that worked. I know things now with social media and internet and all that is much easier, but do you still get to go on some of these trips?
Limited,
sure,
and there are definitely some programs around the country, you know, the Power 5 schools where that's probably you can count on their coaches being overseas,
because it still takes money to get over there, and that's the thing. Not all the universities have got a ton of it. So
it does. And so what's helped us is if I can get over there every 2 or 3 years, and build a network, and it's really at that point more about meeting coaches, meeting the directors of academies, meeting the recruiting handlers that help people from different countries, and getting contacts there, getting a pipeline set up. The internet has become the next best thing to seeing somebody live is seeing a recorded match. And so before that was available, it would have driven me crazy to not see somebody in front of me with my own eyes play. Now it's a little easier to trust. But the goal would be to see as many players as possible and get to a showcase. They're pretty good. A lot of the European countries and South American countries will bring the best 100 juniors in the area to one place. So you wouldn't have to travel everywhere to get them.
Okay. All right.
He's like, you don't have to travel. I mean, if I did, I would go to South America.
They give you your own charter and everything, don't they? Come on.
Yeah. Is this your 3rd year cycle? Do you get to travel this year?
Hey, I'm all for any ideas. I'm an idea person. Yes, let's go.
That's fantastic. That's awesome. It's so fun to see. I know I've been at different events where your players are on stage or just talking about their experience, you know, coming here and being here, and just hearing how students, you know, have really learned to love this area, the support that they get from the community. And that's something that you didn't hear as much about, and I'll be completely honest, you know, you didn't hear that as much about, you know, tennis going on. And honestly, last year, and I follow a lot of sports on Twitter because it's easy to see, okay, what's this team doing and what they have going on, especially when y'all are on the road. And it was just wild. Like, people were at your matches and loving it. And you play at Choice Fitness, correct?
We do. Choice Health and Fitness. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So how do you come in for a game? What does that look like? Do you have to be a member to come
in? No, you don't have to be a member.
Okay,
No, it's free. We're a non-revenue sport. We don't sell tickets, which is great. And I'll kind of back up and you're right. Last year was awesome to be around. I think we have as good a marketing and SID game management staff and that kind of thing as most of the Power Fives I've seen. The amount of promotions that we get, the amount of availability that they make for the coaches or student athletes to promote the program and get something out like this is tremendous here. And when you start to win a few matches, when you start to have a good season, it kind of feeds on itself. I will say that we probably average anywhere from 75 to 140 people to match, which for college tennis is really amazing. And for a mid-major school, that's phenomenal. It's a really fun place. I've had a lot of people come up and say we never knew what it was like to be at a college tennis match. And it's actually a pretty fun environment. And but a lot of that is due to Tom Wynn and Kyle Anderson. Kyle is my assistant coach right now. He's been here for 9 or 10 years. And the previous head coach, Tom Wynn, they built up a support system from the members at Choice. And I would say half of our, if not more than half of our viewing public when we get to a match are members that have seen the teams practice, and the players do a great job of getting to know the people that are walking around. And so they really did a good job of building up, and that's really how we're going to attract people. It's been great. I think what changed a lot the last couple of years is there's more student athletes going to all of the other venues on campus, and so and that's what the players will talk about. It's amazing to hear them walk off the court and they'll know, wow, the softball team was here and the soccer team was here and the basketball team was here and then my professor was here and there were these members that work out here. So they do notice. They do notice that it's. I think to a player, they would all rather play in front of 50 hostile fans on the road than play in front of crickets.
Yes.
So it makes it a little more exciting. So
can you scream and get rowdy
You can.
Yes.
At college, it's a little different than what people,
Okay.
if they watch a match on TV or the
Yeah.
pros play in a Grand Slam, it's
Yeah.
a little different in college. You can't lean over the railing and kind of berate a specific player.
Yeah, no hockey people. Yeah.
But you can get pretty loud. You can get pretty short. Everything short of a cowbell, I think you can get.
Oh,
So.
okay. Leave the cowbell at home, folks. So you all get to take in tournaments. Now you're going to be playing outdoor to kick off your season, correct? Or are you on the road?
We're on the road for the first 4 weeks. Both teams will be on the road first 4 weekends, which actually starts not this weekend but the next weekend. We travel, but it will be all indoor tennis.
Okay.
We start our outdoor season in March when we go on spring break,
Okay.
and then some venues where the weather will be. Tennis has a lot of funny rules with 50 degrees and 18-mile-an-hour wind. It forces it inside or outside, and so. But yeah, we should be indoors at least until the end of February.
So do some of the places you go have the option for outdoor, so you have to plan for either?
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. And the coaches can get together 2 months in advance and say we're probably going to be practicing indoors. So regardless of the weather, let's just schedule it indoors. But we have played a number of matches where you're watching the temperature an hour before the match, not knowing if you're going to be indoors or outdoors. So
That's wild.
it's a little bit different. Yeah.
Yeah. Which is, like you said, it's good here because they can train really well at the facilities that UND
Right.
has in place. So that's awesome. Very cool. Okay. I played in the Williston Parks and Rec League.
Okay.
Yeah, for about 2 summers. And by play, I mean I took lessons. And then I had a Game Boy tennis
There you
game.
go.
So that was really good. I felt really good. I was Steffi Graf back in the day. So, John, my athletic abilities. So, my favorite was doubles. Do you have doubles in college?
So we start off every match with doubles.
Yes.
Division I is a little unique, where our number one doubles team will play the other team's number one doubles team, and then the number 2 team will play their number 2 team, and the number 3 team will play their number 3 team.
Yep.
Those 3 doubles matches count for 1 point in the team match. So the first team that wins 2 of those doubles matches, or all 3 of those doubles matches, will get 1 point for the team score.
Just 1 point?
Just 1 point.
For
So-
all 3 wins?
if you win 3, just 1 point. So,
Wow.
Yeah.
I
That's
didn't know that.
intense.
Yeah.
So and then
Wow.
singles will start after, but yeah, every match will start with doubles.
Wow. Okay. So if you start singles, are you one of the doubles sets, or do you get to rest?
No, so
No.
you can play both doubles and
Yeah.
singles, and I would say on average, for the most part, most of your players that are playing doubles are also your singles players. I think
Yeah.
most teams probably have at least sometimes 1 or 2 players that are, I guess they call them double specialists. They're probably one of the better
Okay.
doubles players on the team, but they might not crack the singles lineup. So usually you're starting a lineup of 7, probably I'd say.
Okay. Okay. Do you have a favorite to play, doubles or singles?
Favorite to play was
Yeah,
doubles,
yeah.
but knowing my own limitations, I should have said singles. Singles.
Okay.
I was more successful in singles. I
Okay.
was jealous of the people that could play doubles better than me.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, at least you're not getting hit in the back of the head by your partner's serve.
Right.
Exactly,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah. Can we talk about the pickleball craze in the world? Has this hit your team? Do they like pickleball, or is it
So
like
it's-
don't do the pickleball?
It's actually a very polarizing topic.
Okay.
And I found this
Yeah.
with our men's and women's teams,
Yeah.
and then around the country, the other colleges teams. It seems to be that people fall into one of 2 categories. As a tennis player, either they think it's ridiculous and they're mad that people compare it to tennis, and they think
Yeah.
that it's nothing more than a fad that's going to go away, or the other half feels like this is my career when I'm 35. I'm going to go make $1 million because I'll be better
yeah.
than everybody
The
else. And
pickleball.
Yeah.
It's like the
so
cornholers.
half of them
Yeah.
are rooting for it to really catch fire, and
Yeah.
the other half think don't.
You know,
wanna waste their
and I
time.
would
Yeah.
think it would just be a good way. Maybe I want to go get a little exercise, but I don't want to get out to the full size court. At least I'm up and running around and doing a little bit or whatever.
right.
But
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, and I look at it as like I see the tennis ball and I'm like, oh my god, like I don't want to get hit with it, like the pickleball, right? It's so light, it's so my style. Although if you've been to play it, the list of rules on the wall.
There are a lot of
really,
rules.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm like, and it's
Really?
It's basically like if you don't have the right color socks, don't even try to
Oh,
get on here.
boy.
It's intense. It's so intense. So, but if you're like me and you're scared of getting like, if Tom was on the other side, like serving at me, I'd like,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
if it was pickleball, I'd be like, let's go, let's
go,
try
bring it
this.
on, bring it
Yeah,
on. Yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
So yeah, maybe it's just energizing some
There you go.
folks. Yeah. Okay. Do you think tennis is a sport that you can play your entire life? Is that something that
It sounds like a phrase I've heard my whole life, but
Yeah.
I would say it's true.
It's something you
yeah,
carry.
and I've met dozens of people who did pick it up at 50 years old and never picked up a racket before, and for the rest of their life they were 2 or 3 times a week players. And I would say I think I started about the average time when I was a junior. Now that starting at 11 years old would be considered a waste of time that everybody's passed you by. I mean, the number of 2-year-olds and 3-year-olds I see out there with rackets now, it's crazy.
Yeah, I know a guy that was in his 80s still playing regularly.
Really?
Yep. I mean, he would bring a whole bucket of balls out there, and if he didn't have anybody to play with, then he would just serve against the backstop that they had at our one of our courts back home. But yeah, he was the tannest 80-year-old guy I've ever seen in my life.
Well, it's because you're retired. You got time.
Yeah, he's out there playing tennis in the sun all day.
He's playing tennis in the sun, and in the winter he goes and he tans.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Got it made.
Got it made. Yeah.
But I think that probably appeals to why we can get people in their 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s to some of our matches, because they can relate. It's a sport they play too, and they know they might not be at that athletic ability, but it's still something they know the rules, they know kind of shot patterns and competitive things like that. So I think it's a little easier to.
That's one of those sports when you're older. If you find somebody that's very comparable to you, athletic wise and knee wise and body wise, it's a fun sport. You know, you don't want to go play somebody that's going to kick your butt all up and down the court, but if you find somebody comparable with your skill, it's so much fun. I absolutely love it.
Yeah. Now you got me excited. I should
Now we're gonna have to get you out of choice.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
It's gonna be so one thing I did notice is tennis lessons start early for kids, where like the Park District and different, they don't have early activities for younger kids.
Right.
So is it a good hand-eye coordination thing where they're saying you can start really early with kids? Because it does make me a little nervous when my son grabs the tennis racket at the Halloween event with your players. But
I think, yes, hand-eye for sure.
Yeah.
And then I think there's so much, I think tennis has become so much more about movement and balance, and as I think with every sport, just the level of athletic ability that from 20 years ago, from when I played, is just going through the roof. And so I think I don't remember tennis being very popular as a 4-year-old, 5-year-old. It was more team sports, I think, and that's where tennis, I think, lost a lot of their better athletes, was to the team sports. That's always going to happen, but I think it's easier to see maybe somebody who does have great hand-eye or can move while they're trying to swing a racket, and I really think some people just are more naturally inclined to play individual sports if they're introduced to them too. But the other flip side of that is the best tennis players I've ever coached played other sports when they were kids too.
Sure.
So I haven't run into a lot of the people that did I'm going to pick my sport at 5 years old. It's going to be tennis. I'm never going to learn anything about a team sport. It's really, I think, more mentally is where they learn things like that, teamwork and being part of a team than anything else.
that's the parents. They're like, you're going to be a tennis player. You're just going to be all in.
I know
go and be homeschooled from 5 years old.
Yeah, exactly. We're going to take you to tennis lessons every day. Yep.
I know I've interviewed hundreds of coaches in my career, and they all want their athletes to not just play the sport that they are coaching.
Yeah.
They want them all to play as many. I mean, that's the only reason I went to school was to play sports. I didn't care if I got a diploma or not. I was just there to play sports,
Right?
you know?
Yeah. You're like the guys in those games last night. You're like, I'm just here to play football.
There you
I'm
go.
Just here to play football.
Yep.
Yeah. And I've heard that I had a friend, her son was a swimmer, and he said, in the summer, I want you to play tennis. I want you to play soccer. I wish more kids would have done that because of the hand-eye coordination of getting that going.
Right.
But we throw them in,
There's
all
other
the
muscle
things,
memory,
so.
you know?
Yeah. It's exciting, but the racket really, whenever he grabs it, he loves. I couldn't get my son away from it at the Halloween event, which is one of my favorites, at the Pollard, and he just sits in. 2 years ago, we got the racket taken away from us, rightfully so. But
we're making improvements.
we're
That was
making
2 years ago,
improvements.
2 years ago, right,
Yeah, we're
exactly.
making
So
improvements.
You got to learn how to swing it, right?
Yeah. He thinks everything's a hockey stick, so we need to really, widen his stuff. So, okay, so when do we kick off everything, or set off? I guess I should say everything here in the Grand Cities.
Bringing the student athletes back this week, so a
Yeah.
few days before school starts, because our first matches are in 10 or 11 days.
Yeah.
So we get on the road, both teams, different places with each team, but. And we're pretty much 2 to 3 matches a weekend for 12 of the next 13 or 14 weekends. So it's kind of fast, it's hard. The spring semester kind of flies by for them. It's a lot of travel, but it's I think I would be safe to say for most of them this is the part of the season that they enjoy the most and
They're ready.
go. Yeah.
Now, do you do non-conference before you hit up Summit League?
Right. So we'll
here
play
now?
about 12 or 13 non-conference matches all before. I think
Okay.
our spring break trip might be after 1 or 2 conference matches, but for the most part, we play our non-conference schedule first.
Okay.
Um,
Fun places? Going somewhere fun?
So
Southern Illinois.
since I've been here, and a lot of this was due. The schedule for the first year I was here was done before I got here.
Sure.
So credit where credit's due. But the women went to Las Vegas, had a 3-match weekend in Vegas, and got to see a Cirque du Soleil show, and
Yeah.
got kind of an experience out there. The men traveled to New York twice last year, and so, spring break was in Orlando at the National Training Center and Universal Studios. And so it's one thing that Kyle and I try to do is obviously competing and putting a good product on the court and have them have some good experiences, and they do keep score, so I'm competitive, and I think they all are too, but within that framework try to get some different experiences and some fun experiences while they're here for 4 years, and some interesting places to play and some fun venues.
Yeah. If you got to travel, you might as well, hit up something like that.
Exactly.
Exactly. No one wants to go to Illinois. So.
No, we have to for a conference.
Right.
so,
Sorry,
so-
Illinois, but yeah. At least we lost one of them.
We did,
So,
we did, yeah.
So, do you fill in any gaps there with it where you're like, well, let's go to Hawaii since we don't play Western?
I don't know who's going to hear this, but I will say that's not true.
Oh,
So
okay.
coming up in the future, that's not true. so.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
so.
I feel like a lot of our programs always did that. Soccer doesn't do everything cool, so apparently they don't need to go to Hawaii. But we need to hit up that train. Maybe go with tennis.
There you go. Hey,
see
put
what's
it
going
together.
on.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay. So what's the first match that we can take in here in town?
Okay, so the men will have a 3-match home weekend the first weekend in February. So
First
they will
week, okay.
play. We usually play Gustavus Adolphus every year, and so we'll start on Saturday, February 3rd,
Okay.
and then on Sunday a doubleheader against Lindenwood in Idaho.
Oh, very cool.
And that's for the men. The women are about 2 weeks later, and they will play Marquette and. You're quizzing
like,
me.
you
I
have
usually have a piece
all
of
of
paper.
this.
I'm looking
Wow.
at,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
want to say Marquette. I think the men are Marquette and Montana at home that weekend,
Okay.
and the women are Marquette. And I'm just gonna. It's not Hawaii. I know that.
Okay.
It's not Hawaii.
Yep.
Or Illinois.
Or Illinois.
Yeah.
But we do. Yeah. So February we do have quite a few home matches in February. It's kind of where we pick it up at home, and then obviously the conference schedule will start
Okay.
in March.
Okay, beautiful, beautiful. Okay, we will. I will post the link on here, so if you want to check it out, go out, see what's going on. Bring the kids. It's so much more fun to attend. I know I see Tom at all kinds of stuff, basketball, volleyball, things like that. It's so much more fun when people are there, kids are there, things are going on, and really creating more of a buzz around town. So if you can't check in and you're somewhere else in the world, or even if they're on the road, like I said, Twitter does a great job of you can constantly keep an update of whoever your SID is. They do an amazing job of updating.
They
So,
do, and
yeah.
new last year we have live stream for our home matches. So if you can't get to
Yeah.
Choice and watch, it's
Yep.
a great opportunity. It's a good teaching tool for us, coaching tool, recruiting
Yeah.
tool, but also it's really nice if you can't, especially for the parents of the players that live in different countries or different parts
So
of the country,
nice.
or you're just busy and want to tune in. You can watch the matches on live stream.
Yeah, yeah, and it's in the winter you can go inside in a nice cozy place. So
Exactly.
yeah, how nice is that? Don't have to worry about the weather. No worries.
And just get loud. Just that's the
Get
one.
loud.
Get loud.
And then
Get
if
loud,
you get like too loud and rowdy, you just go lift some weights afterwards. Just walk out.
There you
and,
go.
get after it. So fantastic. Well, I am so excited for you all this season. I think it's gonna be an awesome season. I'm very excited for you.
Appreciate it.
We'll be out. I will try to keep my 4-year-old off the court, and we'll see if he wants to hit up some tennis this year.
Sounds good. We'll get him out there.
I can't wait. I
right.
can't wait. Well, I appreciate you joining me, Tom.
Oh, my
This has
pleasure.
been
Thanks
great.
for having me. Appreciate
Yes.
it. Been looking forward to it.
And everybody, it's 2024. Make sure with everything you do today and this year, you put a fork in it.